Welcome to another episode of Inside Recreation, where we talk about all the great things happening here in Montgomery County. I'm your host, Carmen Berrios Martinez, and I am thrilled to be speaking with Gabe Albornoz today. Gabe is the newly appointed director of Montgomery County Recreation, but he is no stranger to recreation. He previously served from 2007 to 2018 as our director and took a small break in the middle to serve as a Montgomery County Councilmember. Gabe, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Carmen. I am so thrilled to be back. It has been so wonderful. This last month has been fabulous, and it really does feel like coming home.
Yes, and we are so happy to have you back. You know, when the former director, Robin Riley, decided to retire, right? I think a lot of us were like, oh boy, like where is the department going to go? What direction? And so when we found out that you would be our new director, we were all like, man, he's coming home. Yeah. I am sure that there was a lot of discussion and thought behind the decision to leave the council and come back to Montgomery County Recreation. Walk me through some of that decision making.
Absolutely. So it sort of happened in stages. I have always just gotten a lot of energy from public service, and I really enjoyed my first 12 years working as the department director, working in the executive branch, working on operational issues, dealing with the recession and the fallout from the recession, problem solving, motivating, working with customers. I enjoyed all of it, but there was just something inside me that was interested in seeing what it would be like to be an elected official, to have the opportunity to work more towards system building and go further upstream in establishing policy that impacted our residents. And I don't regret any of it. It was an amazing 7 years. The cool thing about being a council member is you learn something new every 5 minutes about something you may not have known anything about. And the relationships that you are able to establish, the people that you're able to help, is on a different scale, but equally as important. And while I really enjoyed it, I realized during those 7 years that I missed being the director. I missed being that much closer to being able to operationalize programs and services. And the mission of our department is core to who I am. And the work that we do is so impactful. And so when I heard that Robin was retiring, I had this wonderful epiphany. And when I knew that I was likely not going to be seeking re-election and the opportunity arose, I just felt like I had to jump on it. And I had a great conversation with Rich Madalino, our chief administrative officer, as well as County Executive Elrich, who were both very supportive. And it was very clear that the county executive's priorities in his last year in office very much aligned with mine. And then it was just a question of laying the groundwork, talking to my colleagues on the council, and all the way through consulting with my family and my mentors. And the moon's aligned, and here I am, and I'm thrilled.
Yes, and we are so excited. Gabe, you grew up in Montgomery County. You are a hometown boy. Tell me a little bit about, your experiences growing up here in Montgomery County.
Absolutely. So my folks actually immigrated here from South America. My dad is from Ecuador. My mom's from Chile. My dad graduated from Springbrook High School. My mom graduated from Northwood High School. They met as students at Montgomery College.
Wow.
And so our roots run pretty deep. And we lived in Gaithersburg when I was first born until I was around 6 or 7 years old. Then we moved to Silver Spring with my grandparents. And then both my parents and my grandparents sold their houses, and we bought a place in Bethesda. So I went to Whitman, but I was an only child growing up, and recreation programs and services and facilities were really important to me. The Lawton Community Center, which wasn't called the Lawton Community Center then, was like a home away from home because my mom's office was in downtown Bethesda. And I would go to her office most days after school. And so I would just show up to the open gym and participate in different activities. And that always stuck with me. And then went to University of Maryland, got my MBA from Johns Hopkins. So I've never strayed too far from home. And now, of course, live in Kensington with my amazing wife and our 4 kids.
That's awesome. It's amazing how recreation, right, and what you do for recreation kind of sticks with you, even when it's, so many decades ago. Not to say that you're old, right? But even for myself, right, they form a small part of who you are today.
Absolutely. I learned a long time ago that, youth are so desperately seeking caring adults that help take care
Yeah.
of them and ask them how their day was and serve as mentors and guides. And that's a role that I know everybody in our department takes very seriously and
Mhm.
understands the importance and the weight of that. And it's what I love most about being back is having an opportunity to positively impact our children, youth, and families and our seniors, our disability community, folks that are particularly vulnerable. And let's face it, these are very difficult times right now.
Yeah.
We are all going through changes that all of us are having a hard time, myself included, processing. So, and our staff is feeling the weight of all of that in real time too. So, all the more reason why creating a time and space and providing facilities that help people feel better is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, talking a little bit about age,
Hmm.
when you were first appointed to be director of Montgomery County
Hmm.
Recreation, you were just 29 years old. You were
Hmm.
actually the youngest political appointee in the history of Montgomery County. I believe you still are.
Right.
I can't imagine
Hmm.
what I was doing when I was 29, but what it would have been like to lead an agency of this size and importance at such a young age. How'd you do it?
So I have been very fortunate to have some amazing mentors. And, it was interesting, Carmen. The hardest part about transitioning from being the director of a medium sized nonprofit to being the director of such a large front facing county agency um, was really learning government and
Mhm.
how to figure out how to get things done and be effective and knowing who to ask, when to ask, and
Yeah.
how to ask, and the levers. And it's like some days playing 5-dimensional chess, trying to get anything done. What helped me so much were three factors. One was the county executive legate did something really smart, and he assigned two mentors to me.
Hmm.
That was Chuck Short and Bruce Adams.
Oh, yes.
And so I would regularly, every week, connect with, in particular, Chuck, who I would be able to bounce ideas off of or share concerns. And Chuck had been the longest serving director of the county's Department of Health and Human Services and had seen just about everything. And so Chuck was invaluable and became more than a mentor, but a very close friend through that process. The second thing that helped tremendously was just the team here in the recreation department. The staff that welcomed me with open arms, they made me feel very comfortable. And once they realized that I was going to be rolling up my sleeves and that no problem was too big or too small that I would at least try to tackle, I over time earned respect and trust and immediately got thrown into the deep end because the recession happened
Mhm.
within the first 3 years of my being nominated. And we went through that together. And then the final thing that got me through that transition was my family. They were just so supportive every step of the way. And when you have that kind of a personal safety net, you feel like you can't fail. And so that was the other thing that was my guiding light, my North Star through that time.
Wow. So, all right. So you go from being the youngest political appointee to then really breaking barriers once again and becoming the first Latino at large county council member. What made you want to run for office? And what sense of responsibility, if anything, did you feel as that first Latino in an at large seat, which is really important and different from
Hmm.
a district seat?
Sure. So I had gotten the political bug, and I served as chair of the county's Democratic Party.
Mm.
And that's what got me sort of immersed in the politics and how it worked, because it can feel very overwhelming from the outside looking in, not knowing how it all
Yeah.
works. And once I figured out how it worked, it just piqued my interest. But what had been holding me back from running for office was because I know how impactful it is on your family. It takes a lot of emotion and a lot of energy, and it is hard on families,
Mhm.
particularly the campaign process. And around the same time, I participated in a leadership program called Presidential Leadership Scholars, and I was in the third class. There were 60 of us, and I definitely brought up the rear. There were just some of the most brilliant people I've ever met in my life, and the program was a partnership between Presidents Bush, both the father and son, President George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and the LBJ Foundation Library. And it was the most impactful program I've ever been through, and that includes college and grad school. I mean, I learned so much, and I'm an experiential learner, and so I got to learn from people who had done really extraordinary things, both as instructors but also classmates. But I had spent, while I was chair of the Democratic Party, time protesting against George W. Bush. Well, they sat me next to him at our graduation for the program, and he and I really hit it off, and he provided me the advice and the guidance that I needed to how I could be effective in running for office and being in office, but also being there for your family. And so that opened my eyes, and that was the little nudge that I needed. And then support from family was what I decided to go for. And I had the benefit of having been the director of such a large front-facing organization. So that allowed me to establish a lot of relationships that I was then able to leverage and work through to help me get to elected office. And that election was crazy. There were 28 candidates in the primary.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, my last name starts with A.
I was going to say top of the list.
So that made a big difference. Mm-hmm.
So funny. So while you were on council, right, you did some great things. I mean, you served as council president. You chaired the Health and Human Services Committee. Tell me a little bit about all of those experiences and how that kind of comes back, right, to your new role here at REC.
Thanks, Carmen. So I think the most difficult, impactful time was during COVID. As chair of HHS committee, the county council is responsible for administering and overseeing the public health of the county.
Yeah.
And that was really hard, as you can imagine. Harder for the people going through it, especially our most vulnerable populations. But we were making policies in real time. And as you'll recall, that was during the first Trump administration. And we were getting a lot of conflicting information on how to address all things related to COVID. I leaned heavily on my faith during that time and worked through and used every piece of experience that I'd ever been able to gain, and then learned a ton and was trying to be a bridge builder and problem solve in real time with literally life or death consequences. But I learned so much through that process that and I said this often as a council member, and I believe that it's true, that there's nothing wrong with Montgomery County that can't be fixed by what is right with Montgomery County. Mm-hmm. And I saw what was right with Montgomery County during that especially dark time when people, including people here in the recreation department, who stepped up, and although our facilities were closed and our staff were no longer able to provide programs, I know that they were providing nutritious meals for our seniors and delivering them to their homes. Mm-hmm. I know about the incredible work that was being done to provide programs virtually. And everybody was doing their best during that crazy time to serve our public. And we were not just helping the public. I know we were helping ourselves too. But that was an incredible experience. And I also learned through my experience on the council that no one entity, no matter how influential, can do anything by themselves. They have to do it through partnerships and alliances. And so I worked on building a lot of those while I was in the council. And that's how we were able to establish the Office of Food System Resilience. Mm. That's how we were able to expand and strengthen our social safety net. And so I'm proud of that time. We got a lot done.
You're right. Recreation centers were closed, but the recreation department was not closed.
Yes.
And we have some really amazing stories from that time that we're really proud of. So the department's changed a little bit since you were last here, right? Is it kind of like riding a bike? You just came back and you fit right in?
Yeah.
Or were you taken aback a little bit by some of those changes?
All the changes have been fantastic. I've agreed with every single one of them. And Adrian Clutter, who did a phenomenal job working as acting director while I was gone, introduced me to the team at an event about a month ago. And she did something really cool. She asked for everyone to raise their hand who was new since I was last here. It was half the department.
Yeah.
And I've been really impressed with everybody I've had the opportunity to meet with so far. Folks that are clearly passionate and dedicated to public service and helping us carry out our mission. And they're just fun people to be around and work with. And I think that while we take our role here very seriously, we also understand that this is very much, we end up sometimes spending more time with our colleagues than we do our own families. And it feels like a family environment around here. So that feels the same. The digs are a lot nicer.
This is a nice building to work in.
Although,
for sure.
I miss feeling cold and hot when
Do
you're
you?
not supposed to at Bushy Drive and the mice and all of those challenges
all our special
that
friends
we had.
over there.
Yeah, but it's an amazing facility. But the DNA is the same.
Yeah.
And the work's the same, and it all feels so wonderfully familiar. And I've tried to hit the ground running.
Yeah, and you weren't here, but you were here, right? And so as we grew and new centers opened, you were at those ribbon cuttings, you were funding them, right, in the first place. So you were never really gone, completely gone. I know you truly believe in the mission of this department. Tell me about why recreation is so important for our community.
I mean, too many reasons to count, but here are some of the top in my opinion. So, and I'll give you an example. So mental health is a huge issue right now. Our Department of Health and Human Services administers every 2 years a public health survey. And in 4 surveys in a row, the number one health issue that our residents report being concerned about is mental health. And our department is so uniquely positioned to be able to help improve the mental health of our residents through our programs and services. But even more than that, the relationships that we build. The person who's behind our recreation center desk that sees Thelma, who comes every Tuesday for the Mahjong class and says, Thelma, how you doing today? Just having that personal connection means so much to our people right now, to our residents, to our constituents, to our customers, because people are feeling very disconnected. And as I said earlier, they're feeling the weight of all of the stress that we're all feeling at the moment. So we are uniquely positioned to be able to do something about that, which is pretty darn cool.
Yes.
The other cool thing is there is no more important precious commodity in any community or any country than our children. And that is something that I know we're all proud of, that we have the opportunity to mentor, to guide, to help steward these incredible kids on their journeys. And we play a role in their development. And I know that's something that we're all especially proud of. And then, of course, I've got a mom and dad that live in Bethesda still. They're very enjoying their retirement. And the fastest growing demographic that we have in Montgomery County is our aging population. And in 5 years, in 4 years now, there will be more people over the age of 65 than there will be under the age of 18
that
live here in Montgomery County. And so we're uniquely positioned to be able to support our aging community as they age in community and make sure that their quality of life remains high and that they remain seen and protected. And the other constituency group that I'm especially proud that we serve, and I got to say this, our staff very much reflects the diversity of the communities we serve, and we're super proud about that, and it's awesome. And that puts us in a position to be able to help our newly arriving constituents as well, who are first generation. My parents were first generation. And when you're coming into a community for the first time, you're trying to get your bearings straight. You're trying to figure out which way's up, which way's down. We don't know how to navigate these really complex systems. And we also play a unique role there to make sure people feel welcome, that they feel seen, that they feel appreciated. And that is critical right now.
Recreation does such a great job of playing that community hub role, right? And if we can't serve the needs that you have, we can surely connect you with somebody who can.
Totally.
And it's one of the best things about this role. All right, so you're back. What are your goals? What do you want to do? In this kind of take two that you're doing.
Well, Taco Tuesdays for sure. So,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So I think there's a lot, and I'm trying to pace myself because
we appreciate that.
There's a lot of stuff I want to do. And it is a unique time in the county because we're in a transition phase. This is the last year of the Elrich administration. And in about, in 11 months, there will be a transition in leadership at the highest levels of county government. And so I want to be a bridge in helping to make sure that the county executive fulfills his objectives as he carries out the last year of his office and then help set up for success whoever's next. So my priorities are their priorities because I serve at the pleasure, but those priorities are one and the same. They are to take care and really help our most vulnerable populations. I want to expand our out-of-school time programming, even more so than it already is. And you and I have talked about this, Carmen, but one of the things that happened during the recession were a lot of teenagers had a harder time getting jobs.
Yeah.
Because many of the jobs that would normally go to teens working in restaurants or fast casual places or even retail, a lot of adults are going to be taking those positions who've been laid off because of the changes at the federal level. We are one of the largest, if not the largest employer of youth, certainly in county government, but maybe overall, period.
Yep.
And that's, I want to double down on that and see how we can create more opportunities for our teens and be that steward because that will help all of us. We're all going to age, and we need these kids to help take care of us.
You might be aging.
Right.
I don't know about me.
So that's going to be really important. And then there's things that are a little less sexy, but equally as important. We've got aging infrastructure of our buildings that we've got to take care of. And while we're building these big, beautiful, new, shiny buildings, we can't forget about the buildings that are already serving so many people and so well. And the last thing I'll say for now in terms of priorities are, I want to hear from the community. I want to make sure we meet the community where they are and not just wait for them to come to us, and partner with public, private, nonprofit organizations to extend our reach, leverage the great facilities and programs that we have, and serve people on a wider basis and more deeply. And those are the things that we want to do.
Well, we are all here for it and can't wait to see what you do during your time here. You mentioned some of the great programs that we have, like TeenWorks, our youth employment program, our facilities. I want to remind folks that they can find out more information about our programs and services at www.mocorec.com. And if they've got any ideas for you, they can email us at recreation.customerservice@montgomerycountymd.gov. Super short and easy to remember. And we'll get those messages to you. Gabe, we are thrilled to have you back. You hired me more than a decade ago when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. And I had no idea that recreation would become the place where I could combine my passion and my educational skills in one job. And it has been such a thrill to serve this county and the community that helped raise me, as well as I'm a hometown girl. So thank you. We're thrilled to have you back. We can't wait to really dig in and do some of the hard work that we have ahead of us.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Carmen. I'm so proud of you, too.
Oh, thanks.
You're doing a great job.
You're so sweet. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you back next time for another episode of Inside Recreation. Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by County Cable Montgomery, your source for news and information from the Montgomery County government. Connect with us via cable, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube by searching for County Cable MoCo.